The sun was setting like a shunned Athens god behind a burnt Greek sky. But Sally's all smiles. She's riding high on top of an ornate plastic ball. Deliberately pulled too slow to tip her off, but just quick enough to make her top slip, revealing her broadest cleavage. There's a DJ baiting the crowds with chants of "Get them out!" as she frees one hand from the ooze-oh-soaked rope around the bronco's neck and lifts her top above her head, exposing her breasts. At the same time, Sally's friend Susie, she's on her knees, centre stage, mimicking the mechanical ball's rocking motion with her open mouth, illuminated from the flash of 100 camera phones all set to record. She holds both thumbs up to shouts of "Sock him off." Later, in the toilets, while Susie's washing out her mouth, Sally asks, "Did you hear the crowd go mental when I whipped me tits out?" Looking up from the spit-splattered sink, Susie replies, "Aye. I can't remember what the prize was, but I think we won." Now fast forward 2 months. Susie no longer feels like a winner as the bathroom light grows dimmer and the water in which she lays turns a deadly red shade. A moment's madness in a sleazy Greek bar cut deeper than the scars upon her arms from where the blood now seeps. Her mobile tweets, another social media notification, a video uploading highlighting her humiliation, only this time the thumbs up are digital. An unwilling internet sensation at age 19, achieving unwelcome notoriety through being diabolically labelled in the dailies as such. Disgusting holiday slut in sickening public sex act named. Shamefully singling Susie as solely culpable. But is she really the only one responsible for her actions on that night? What about the crowd who egged her on? Videoing along. Surely they realised what they were witnessing was wrong. And if they were too drunk on that night, then what gave them the right to later upload those films onto sites where they'd be seen and shared by strangers till she got plastered over morning papers, where one tabloid actually ran the tagline, "Visit us online for the full uncut scene"? Now remember, Susie is just 19, now alienated from her family, vilified nationally for what was one night stupidity. Anyone who's ever been sucked into the vacuum of a group mentality will appreciate how hard it is to break free. But let's not forget about these establishments. Those bars and holiday resorts that so openly flaunt female exploitation for drunken titillation as they toss around crass flyers that read, "Show us your tits and you'll get in for free." Now where is their accountability? Because surely they have a responsibility for the safety and the well-being of their patrons. Yet any bar that so actively extorts sexuality in exchange for currency, well, doesn't feel that safe to me. But let's not fool ourselves that this only happens overseas. Walk into any UK city and you'll see staff in certain bars objectified to little more than breasts in bras, with a sign above their door offering cheap drinks and entry to any woman willing to expose their anatomy. So I'll ask again, where is their accountability? I'm not condoling Susie's actions. I'm just asking for an equal level of guilt for all those responsible. So this is called, Are You Local? The sign on the door says push, but it always sticks. You have to pull it till it clicks before you can push it open. Now only a local would know this, and we have laughed off our tits many nights watching strangers struggling to enter. Fucking tourists. I think I know what to expect as I walk into the bar. The floor still falters with familiarity and greets me with its sad hello as I move upon it, heel to toe. You see this room, it's framed into my conscious. It's like a photograph never fading, only slightly changing, whilst everything else, including them, ages. Yellow stains from friendly fingers form tides of waves, wafting nicotine in a draft that has blown my way. Familiar faces, fake smiles with tongues that are forced out of small talk without thought. Those standard greetings without feeling. The "how you been? It's been how long? How you keeping?" Now these questions are cast off without really wanting an answer. For I know to answer would be disaster. No one is interested, let alone care. No cat has ever died from curiosity around here. But there's a difference in this familiar. An uncertainty in the certain. A smile that's more a smirk. A slight curl upon once friendly lips that a stranger could easily miss if it didn't feel like a tightening fist enclosing as it grips and then it hits. The reason for my social leprosy. I see from Facebook you're doing that poetry. Now it's neither statement nor question. This is a dissection of character, a separating pronoun forcing me back. I am defined by the word that, ostracised, the other, outcast. I have become that poetry. But this hand which grasps around this cheap club pint glass is still the same hand which clinked glass with theirs on birthdays. Shook palm to sweaty palm and all the bests on New Year's Day. You see, nothing's really changed. My views are still the same, although I do abbreviate my middle name. It's now Asa J, and not their Asa James. But still I try and change the subject by talking about the match, but there is no coming back. My identity is being hacked. It would appear my opinion is no longer valid, because I've acquired the ability to write sonnets. The sign on the door says Paul, but it always sticks. You have to push it till it clicks before you can pull it open and leave. Don't do what they're supposed to do. This is called full of shit. Open-mouthed, you mock me daily. For every time I start to wee, I know you'll suddenly close mid-flow. You'll slam down deliberately, almost decapitating my cock, forcing me to stand on one leg, whilst with the other I prop. Your seat up against the system, but this is not an ideal position for any man to be pissing. You see, my aim's all off centre. Like Peter Beardsley, I'm dribbling, until your bath mat holds more splash stains than a baby in bibbing. And at the risk of sounding sizest, I can only call you tiny. Your dimensions for a lavatory are quite unsanitary. For when I sit to do a number 2, my bits they touch your rim. Piss splurts out of the gap between the basin and the lid. And after every flush, there's always a platter of splatter down your porcelain back. Your bowl, it holds more skid marks than the Newcastle Diamond Speedway track. You're inconvenient as a convenience. As a lavatory, you just take the pee. Why does your flush never want to flush for me? There's always something remains, a brown ghost of excrement past. No amount of toilet duck could ever bring your freshness back. When one of Bungle's fingers lies floating in the bowl, it's mockingly doing backstroke with an abandoned fig roll. I had to break their bleeding backs to send them to the watery grave. You just send me round the U-bend when your flush just won't behave. I mean, you've only got one function, and you bloody crap at it. So bog off, toilet. I'll use the sink, because you're full of shit. What if your senses were all mixed up? What if you smelt when you heard and tasted when you touched? My ex said she suffered from this, claimed that's why she greeted everyone with a kiss. Not always on the lips, mind, mostly on the cheek. But she said you could only truly know someone when they got stuck between your teeth. Mind you, she also claimed she smelled through her ears. She said she sniffed in tones. She once told me that when we were together, the citrus scent of love would fill her lungs. And that's why now she only ever listened through her nose. She said if something was worth hearing, you had to inhale it. Breathe it in. Let the gravity of a person's words expand your chest. Let it rest on your lungs till you've absorbed every word that's been said. She believed the only way to taste was with your fingers. She said you had to grab what you savour, hold it, let its flavour linger over your digits and your palms. I asked her, if you really can't taste with your hands, how do you feel when you wipe your arse? Now she left me pretty soon after, but her senses are all mixed up. She can't say how much I love her.
Thank you, thank you.